Welcome to All About Energy. Guys, it's been a while, but today we have a very fun guest, good friend of mine, also the brain behind an app called Lightgate. Welcome, David.
Hi, Saba. Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to talk about your app and really connect with you to see what's going on in your life and have a wonderful space to just have these conversations that we've been having on the phone. And they've been so interesting going down these rabbit holes. And I thought we really need to get on here and discuss them a little bit.
Yeah, good call. No, you mentioned this and it really resonated.
Perfect. So I wanted to briefly touch on the app and then we'll get into the way it works a little bit later. So tell me about your app that you started for the collective consciousness, which is an amazing intention, by the way.
Okay, well, thanks. Well, basically, I was doing a Lionsgate portal activation about a year ago, just over a year ago in August 2024. And I started getting a lot of information, I guess you could call it downloads, about creating an app that would allow people to share vibes, positive energetic waves of support for each other, whether that person needed encouragement or consoling or healing. It just kept coming and over during the space of about 2 months. 2 months, I received so much, and finally, about a year ago, I started working on this in terms of creating an application that would help people send vibes to each other. The purpose being, it's like a bell. And if somebody comes and rings a bell, it makes a beautiful tone. If you go to a church or a temple, you can experience that. And it's said that sound can have amazing benefits. We all know that favorite song and the emotions that it can bring up. And so by sending these kind of vibes to other people, it can benefit the receiver, the sender, and anybody who's watching the interaction as well. So the app is set up to facilitate that sort of interaction, that sending of vibes from human beings to other human beings and to the earth and the biosphere and flora and fauna, the cosmos as well.
Beautiful. We are all energy, right? And our intention and our thoughts and our prayers are so much more powerful than we realize. And I think your intention behind that is just speaks volumes because you've put the intention out there for people to be intentional about their message, their energy, their vibe for one another. And now let's talk about sending vibes. What would be some examples that you've set up in your wonderful app on why someone would send vibes?
So, for example, a healing, if somebody is going through some medical issues or perhaps recuperating, let's say somebody's recuperating from a spinal surgery, and let's say that is a 2 month period. And
Mhm.
so someone can organize a campaign, maybe a family member or a friend of the person who's recuperating, and invite other friends, coworkers, other family to come on a regular basis and send vibes of encouragement, support to that person who's recovering from surgery. And it's set up in a way that you can make groups, you can make the whole process public or private. And also, probably the most powerful point actually is that you can set reminders so that well, if you want to send somebody messages or vibes of support, you can do it 2 times a week, 3 times a week, takes a minute at a time. But what you're doing over and over again is ringing that bell. It could be a family member who's playing sports or going through the bar exam, for example. It could be somebody who's just had a loss of a pet or a family member. There's just really a wide variety of uses, but the purpose is the same. It's to send vibes to other human beings. It's something that is, I believe, a unique superpower that we have, and this is a way for people to use that superpower easily.
What a beautiful intention. I love it. I was using it firsthand and I found it so helpful, so beautiful to be able to share the messages that were posted for my family member and discuss, what's going on the app. It was amazing. It really made you be a little bit more mindful, intentional. We all know that time can sometimes get ahead and or back and we lose track. So it's really beautiful that you've set up an app that really keeps us in a place that we want to be, which is present.
Mhm. Well, thank you. Actually, I don't know if it's so much me. I mean, I'm just doing the work that I was asked to do, and we all have these phones, and it's sort of an interesting way to potentially use these phones to network humanity, to network ourselves. And I don't know if that's really a new way. I think we're all networking, whether it's social media or email or other forms of communication using these devices. But I think the opportunity to network our vibrations using these devices is something that maybe has a lot of fertile ground, so to speak.
Right. I'm glad that you're mentioning that because I know we have a lot of discussions that happen throughout the last few years, especially about social media, the toxicity, or your phone, or, et cetera. And it's beautiful that there are apps out there like yours or websites or what have you that are in the ethers that are really putting in a positive energy into that beautiful ether net, right? So that's beautiful that it can be used for positive as well, not just, taking someone's energy and then they're doom scrolling for 10 hours, It can actually
Right.
be used for beautiful things as well, which is a nice reminder that, hey, there are beautiful things you can do with social media or the internet.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there is some sort of limit to us. Myself, I just find that scrolling, you can get carried away with it. But after a while, if you start checking yourself and you make a note of how long you've been doom scrolling and whether it even has any purpose, uh, it's possible to slow down or stop the process. But yeah, it's an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I know myself, I was recently explained on who I was and the things that I did with an ADHD explanation. And it was very interesting to see why I did the things I do. And those are one of the things that I would do in order to soothe my nervous system. So, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it's I'm not a scientist, I don't or a chemist, so I don't really know the biochemistry involved. But it does seem to be that uh, the doom scrolling fills up our dopamine, our pleasure receptors, and uh, there becomes a point where we just can't even get any more dopamine in the receptors, like after you've been doom scrolling for a long time, and so the receptors just become completely full. And so I started to think about that science and I started to realize that I was part of that, that I was, spending time trying to get more dopamine when I was already full. I've already had enough. It was time to stop.
One thing interesting that I've noticed that there are certain things that will pop up on social media that you're like, oh, that could be a little trigger. So, what I've started to do too when I'm on social media too long, if I notice that something it pops up where I'm like, okay, this is a little bit emotional for me, or it's triggering, or it's getting my attention too much, okay, so one thing is like, okay, obviously there's some interesting things going on with which we don't need to go into on how to capture your attention on social media, right? There's an algorithm. But also, it's a beautiful opportunity where I look in and say, oh, wait, why is that triggering me? Or why am I getting emotional? Why am I so triggered this moment and angry or upset or sad overly excited. Like, what is it? And I like to use it sometimes as like a little check-in. You know, I'm scrolling and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What am I doing here? What am I getting emotional about? What's getting me started here as far as this mental state that I'm in at this moment? So it's wonderful when you can become the observer while you're doing it, which is hard to do. But I've been learning to try to catch myself to kind of say, okay, I walked in this state and now I'm at this state. What just happened?
Mhm, mhm. Well, in our community, spiritual community, let's say, people say things happen for a reason. So I believe this whole social media, doom scrolling, all of it is happening for a reason. Perhaps the reason is to show us what we aren't so that we can remember who we are, what we are. And I think there are things that trigger us. I know I get triggered sometimes on social media, and it's funny because if you start watching a video more than a couple of times, the algorithms are going to start feeding you more of that video. So you have to be careful about things that trigger you because if you really go down that rabbit hole, you're going to get inundated with them. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to observe and say, well, yes, that that horrific thing is going on in the world, and at the same time, I'm going to keep my optimism. I'm going to maintain my happiness. But what I find myself doing is then I've got to go into social media and make sure I view content that isn't going to feed the algorithm of the thing that not necessarily triggered me, but something that I don't really need to watch over and over again.
Right. Now, David, you've done a really wonderful job, I've noticed over the last few months, and just hearing you say, "Oh yeah, I did a nice bike run, or I went to a nice walk today, etc." I want you to kind of share your magic sauce of like how you got there. How did you step into this place of, I'm going to take control and I'm going to step into what it is that my soul is aligned with and what I'm needing right now. Where is your mindset and how did you get there?
Wow, I mean, I'm humbled by what you just said. Thank you. I don't see it as any secret sauce, but it was a lot of really letting go, letting go of things, letting go of the need to do things, the need to control. And it's not a finished project. It's a work in progress, but at least I can feel things that have improved. For example, if I had something to do, sometimes I would rush a little bit. Maybe if I thought I was a little delayed or something like that. But lately, I've just come to realize that the universe has everything organized already. And so there wasn't never any need to rush. There was never any need to push. And the universe gave me a few signals here and there.
Hmm.
And if I don't follow the signals, then I get discomfort. For example, my wrist. I made this deal with my higher self that it would make my wrist hurt, my right wrist, if I'm pushing. And so that's part of impatience and control is that pushing. So my right wrist start hurting. It's like, okay, and immediately I will start to check myself. Okay, where am I pushing? Where do I need to let go? Oh, I'm pushing because my son's not doing his homework at school, and I've got to get on that. Well, maybe just like let it go, and everything. Just trust in the process. Trust that everything will be fine.
Hmm. Beautiful. I love how you had that conversation with your higher self that, hey, this will be our little message on how you'll communicate with me. Very, very, very good, actually. Now, how do you motivate yourself?
How do I motivate? It's something I think I probably have to give credit to Dr. Joe Dispenza first for this idea of making a deal. And I don't know who I'm making the deal with, the universe, the galaxy, my higher self, my subconscious, but the idea that I will have more peace if I follow certain guidelines has been something that's really resonated with me a lot more.
Hmm.
So in the sense that I could push more, or I could go for a walk in nature. Now, what does my higher self really want me to do in that moment? And so that has probably helped the most. Yeah.
Walk me through the process of make a deal a little bit more.
Uh, well, I mean, Dr. Joe Dispenza was, as I understand it, as he describes it, he was very ill with his back injury that he got, being hit by a car. And then he promised that if he got better, that he would devote his life to helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically have had some discomfort from a brain tumor and some nerve pain. And so what I wound up doing was reading about a lot about prayer and spending a lot of time in prayer, mostly in the shower,
Mm-hmm.
and driving, probably the
Mm-hmm.
two best places that I go to. And over time, just getting a lot of feedback, positive feedback that I was on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I had meditated a lot before, but I found that I was doing it in the expectation of an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so my prayer is more like an expression of gratitude and appreciation for everything in my life. I have everything. I mean, you know what they say in the Bible, well, you have everything, somebody else has more. Well, I'll start with I have everything. So it's fine. So everything's perfect. So there's nothing really wanting. So because I have everything, then I have probably the bandwidth to do something for the unified field to play my tone. Each of us are like a tone, a musical instrument that makes a tone, and together we make a symphony. All of us human beings. But some of us, our tone is a little bit distorted, and so. Our symphony might not sound so beautiful, but the idea, I believe, is that we're going to be moving towards the idea of a universe, one beautiful sound. And so just as a conductor will tell the trombones to back off and the string section to be a bit louder, by the same token, I think each of us human beings has our tone to play. And so the purpose of my prayer was basically to ask what tone I needed to play. And this kind of comes back to the app and so on. But it wasn't just the app. It was more about conducting myself in life as well, making sure that I just follow my guidance, whether it's going to yoga, going to the gym, going to bed early, whatever it is, so that I can play my tone, and hopefully the conductor doesn't scold me for my distortion too much. And over time, hopefully I play my tone more and more in a beautiful way, so that at the end of this life, my tone is as beautiful as I can hope for it to be. And I guess you would say that's sort of what we call becoming the best version of ourselves.
Oh my gosh, David. I love that. That was so perfect. What a wonderful reminder for myself and the viewers to really understand how beautiful we all are uniquely and to really take ownership of our tone and how we show up on this beautiful symphony that we call life. Despite what's going on, I will tell you, I've been going through a really rough time the last few months. So, just to hear that and to really sit back and go, okay, where am I with this? I do struggle with motivation. I know a lot of people struggle with just getting to that point. And you've shared some wonderful context behind the why you do what you do, which I loved, loved, loved. What I would like to know is now, for someone like me who isn't very motivated sometimes and just struggles to just get that first step going, just in the sense of like a project that I'm doing, or saying, hey, you really need to stick with the gym just to move your body, Saba, just to kind of, step into some extra movement. It benefits me and those around me, of course. So with regards to your movement and your intention there, are you very easily, is it something that's very easy for you that you just step into and have no issue?
I wish it was easy, and yeah, it's one of those things that if I think about it, I won't do it sometimes.
So you just do it
And
and you're like, before you know it, you're up.
so I tell myself, like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. It's like, oh, geez, but you've had the flu for 3 weeks and you're away. So you haven't been to the gym for 3 weeks, and maybe you should just rest a few more days. This was 2 days ago. This was the chatter going on. And I was like, no, I'm not going to think. I'm just gonna put my body in automatic mode, and I'm just gonna go there. And sometimes at the gym, things just go smoothly and it's over. Other times, it's kind of like dragging yourself through mud. But again, I just like not thinking about it, and also biting off like little pieces. Like I'm the kind of person that would make like a long list of things to do all the time, and I would have these, sheets and sheets of paper with lists and on my phone, and I would reschedule them every day because I hadn't done all of them. And after a while, it was just like, no, just like do a couple of things. Just start doing a couple of things. Don't even think about the whole list. Just do a couple of things. Of course, if there's something like really, really critical, put it on the list. But not everything is like that. And so just like one at a time, just do it. And the next thing you know, your day's over. You've got all this stuff done. There was no pressure. And I think I mentioned to you this the other day. I just really like my peace these
Yeah.
days. And but by that, it doesn't just mean you're my outer quiet and silence. It means that inner that thinking, like don't go to the gym and rest, or you need to do this and stuff on your list. And quieting that down and getting that peace has been really like a big change for me.
Perfect. Yeah. And I saw your pictures with your family. How cool was it? Your trip that you took? Amazing. So taking away time for yourself and just getting away. I did that recently where I took a couple days to myself and just being mindful of taking care of you. I think is such an important part of our lives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. As you know, I've had quite a few hypnosis sessions done on me, and I would complain about this or that, and they kept saying, "Oh, you're fine. You're doing everything to yourself." And finally, I guess one of the biggest messages was from a medium who told me. She said, "Be a hero to yourself first." All this about trying to save other people. Save yourself first. So that's when I really started to prioritize myself a lot. Not like to be like overly selfish or forget my family or anything, but first of all, making sure that I'm good first, that I'm kind of in as best alignment as I can be before I try and go and do things.
Go and save the world. I love
Yeah.
it. Perfect. I love it. Be a hero to yourself first, people, right? Be a hero to yourself first. I like that. Now, I know we didn't have much time today, so I wanted to jump in and if you want to pull up on your phone or I could pull up your app so people would know how to download it.
Uh-huh.
It's a really
Yeah, it's
fun, let's see. Here, I've got it. Lightgate. Oh, well, no, it
there's
didn't really.
yeah, here
Well,
here it is here. I don't know if you can see
you can
that.
see. I don't know if you could see mine. There you go. I wanted to show
Oh,
them
that's the
that.
login. That's the login screen. Yes, absolutely. That's the app. It's available in the Android and Apple Store, and you just type in Lightgate. And I think there might be one other app that comes up if you type in Lightgate, but this one says Lightgate, the kindness app. So that's the one.
Beautiful. Thank you for making the world a kinder place. I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you so much for having me on and having this conversation. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this time together.
All right. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.